It's 1774. A candlelit drawing room somewhere in Paris. A small crowd has gathered. Scientists, philosophers, aristocrats. They have been told they are about to witness something impossible. On the table in front of them sits a boy.
He is about the size of a real child, maybe 4 years old. He is made entirely of brass and steel and ivory. He has glass eyes. He has articulated fingers. And in a few moments, he is going to pick up a quill, dip it in ink, and write a sentence in perfect cursive without stopping.
His name is the writer. He was built by a Swiss watchmaker named Pierre Jacques-Droz. And he is not a trick. He is not an illusion. He is a machine, a mechanical device that can genuinely write. 40 letters, any text you choose, again and again and again. Pierre Jacques-Droz was born in 1721 in the Swiss Jura Mountains, a region so cold and so isolated that its people had learned, over centuries, to turn one raw material into a livelihood: time. The Jura is where mechanical watchmaking was invented, and Jacques-Droz grew up at the center of it, surrounded by master craftsmen who could fit 1,000 moving parts into a case the size of a coin. But he wasn't satisfied with clocks. Clocks, he understood, only did one thing. They repeated a single sequence of movements forever. Same gears, same motion, same result. What Jacques-Droz wanted to build was something different. Something that could change what it did, depending on what you told it to do. A machine that could receive instructions.
Inside the writer's chest is a steel disc, about the size of a dinner plate.
Around the edge of that disc are 40 cams, small, precisely shaped metal lobes, each one a different profile, a different curve. As the disc rotates, each cam pushes against a set of levers. Those levers control the arm, the wrist, the fingers. Each cam is a single letter. Each cam profile is the physical shape of a character.
The cams are removable. You can take them out, rearrange them, put them back in a different order, change the text without rebuilding the machine. What Jacques-Droz had built, without knowing it, without the language to describe it, was a stored program device. The disc was memory. The cams were code. The machine was a processor. In 1774,
And the writer was only one of 3. Alongside him, Jacques-Droz built the draftsman, a mechanical boy who could draw 4 different images: a dog, a royal couple, a butterfly, a portrait of Louis XV. Swap the cams, different drawing, same machine. And the musician, a mechanical girl who could play 5 songs on a real pipe organ, her fingers actually pressing the keys, her chest rising and falling as she breathed.
he built her lungs, not because the machine needed lungs to play music, because he wanted her to look like she was playing music. The 3 automata went on tour in 1774, Paris first, then Madrid. Then a private audience with King Louis XVI of France. The king was fascinated. The queen, Reine Marie Antoinette, was reportedly terrified. Several witnesses described grown adults backing away from the writer the moment it began to move. A clock was a machine. A loom was a machine. A cannon was a machine. You looked at those things and you understood, instinctively, what they were. But the writer looked at you.
He would pause between letters. His glass eyes would shift position, not because they needed to for the writing mechanism to function, to make him appear to be checking his own work.
The Vatican reportedly opened an investigation. There are accounts, possibly apocryphal, but widely repeated, of the Spanish Inquisition seizing the automata as evidence of witchcraft. Pierre-Jacques Dreux died in 1790. They were taken apart, piece by piece, into storage. The 19th century arrived with its steam engines and its iron bridges and its railways and its telegraph cables. The Industrial Revolution was building machines at a scale that made 3 brass children seem decorative and small. Nobody connected the cam disk inside the writer to the punch card looms appearing in French textile factories. Nobody noticed that Joseph-Marie Jacquard's 1804 programmable loom worked on exactly the same principle. Removable instructions, swappable code, stored programs. The idea had been sitting in a Swiss drawing room for 30 years before anyone built on it.
In 1906, a museum curator in Neuchâtel, Switzerland, opened a storage crate and found the writer, along with his 2 companions, in pieces.
The draughtsman was missing several components. The musician had been partially disassembled. The writer was in better shape, but barely. A team of watchmakers spent months reassembling them. When they finally wound the writer's mainspring and let the mechanism run, for the first time in decades, he picked up his quill, dipped it in ink, and began to write. The sentence he wrote, as encoded by Jacques Dreux himself, was "Je ne pense pas, donc je suis une machine." I do not think, therefore I am a machine. Whether Jacques Dreux actually programmed that sentence, or whether it was added by a later hand with a sense of irony, nobody knows for certain. But it fits. Because the question the writer raised, the question that terrified the audiences in Paris and Madrid, was not really about witchcraft. It was about the line between a machine and a mind. When a visionary mathematician sat down in 1936 to write his landmark paper on the theoretical foundations of computing, the paper that defines what a fundamentally is, a stored program device. The architecture he described, the thing at the heart of every computer ever, was conceptually identical 162 years earlier. A visionary machine, abstract, infinite, theoretical. But the core idea, executable in sequence, was the same idea. It didn't have electricity or silicon, but it had software, written in steel, running on gravity and springs.
Today, All three automata are housed in the Musée d'Art et d'Histoire in Neuchâtel, Switzerland. They still work.
The musician still plays her 5 songs. The draughtsman still draws his 4 images. And the writer, 250 years old, running on the original mainspring mechanism, still picks up his quill, dips it in ink, and writes.
Visitors sometimes describe the experience as deeply unsettling, not because he looks human, particularly. In that pause, the machine looks like it's thinking.
And for 250 years, we've been trying to decide whether that's a trick of engineering or something more.